Ah yes, Kratuga, a grinding spot that majority of the player base doesn't even know about. But for the enlightened, this might just be the best place to blow your Agris points. Kratuga really caught my eye when Pearl Abyss made some major adjustments in the recent patch on May 25th. They implemented a significant increase to trash loot with Agris and added pretty much all of the artifacts to the loot table. With these buffs and a drop rate event, let's see if we can break Kratuga. Alright, let's talk about some gear requirements. I would say that the bare minimum would be 261 AP and 310 DP. Now, remember, just because you are able to grind somewhere doesn't mean that you always should. This stands true especially nowadays with grinding spots such as centaurs or sulfur mines. Both of these spots can make you comparable silver with way less gear. So I would recommend pushing your AP up to 273 or higher in order to optimize a spot like this. In regards to DP, just bring yourself to a point where you feel pretty comfortable. Continuing with recommendations, the more inventory space, the better. Kratuga drops a ton of artifacts and forbidden books, both of which cannot be stacked and clutter up your inventory. Another recommendation is to have a celestial horse flute to help bring your horse inside of Kratuga. It is important to note that you can easily call your horse inside using some funky tricks. They're just a bit inconvenient. Now, to get into Kratuga, you need to bring one of two items to act as a key. For most newcomers, you will have to bring a Black Spirit Claw piece. This item can be bought from the Central Market, or you can grind for one over at Sulfur Mines and Pilaku Jail. The other item that can act as a key is an Unsealed Ruins Slate. These can be crafted in your inventory from unsealed slate pieces that are dropped from mobs found in Kratuga. The very first thing you have to do is path yourself over to the Harash Cliff node. This node can be found to the southeast of Heidel or the southwest of Altanova. Once you find yourself at the node manager, look at the sign, turn around, line yourself up with this rock, and just walk in a straight line. After walking down these rocks, on your right hand side you should find the entrance to the Hasrah Ancient Ruins. These ancient ruins are kind of big, so just follow my pathing. Once you're greeted with this giant room with some grass in it, just continue in a straight line through that open door. On the left, you will see a almost broken looking wall that seems almost impossible to get through. And on the right, you should see some floating mobs and this hallway. This is the direction that we want to go. Run straight through all these mobs, and on your left hand side, you will find this door. We'll just do a quick 360 so you guys can get a quick understanding on where this door actually is. When you interact with the door, there should be a chat window. Open it up, and you should be able to use one of your keys to get inside of Kratuga. Keep in mind that this will open the door for the whole server, meaning if you have someone standing next to you, they will be teleported alongside with you into Kratuga. Since I already committed to being your tour guide, allow me to lead you to the 2-room rotation. As long as you stick to the path provided by the game, you shouldn't get lost. On screen you can see my gear, and it's honestly nothing too crazy. I don't have a Black Star weapon, so that slows me down quite a bit. I'm only 281 AP. If you look closely at my crystal setup, you will see that I am missing one in my offhand. This was not intentional, and you know, I totally didn't get fed to mobs by enemy guild, right? When it comes to my artifact setup, I am currently rocking the lightstone combination called the Wild. This is pretty suboptimal, but I can't buy this one stupid lightstone off the central market. I swear, I've had a listing there for 3 months now. Here are my PvE add-ons that I rock for Awakened Guardian. And here is my pet setup. As you can see, I actually have mostly tier 3 pets. Even though I don't have all tier 4s, there wasn't really an instance where I had to slow down and pick up loot manually. Now that you've seen my gear, I will show you how I grind this rotation. Keep in mind that your pulls will be different depending on what class you play and what gear score you have. Starting with the pack closest to the entrance, make sure to pull these mobs off of this wall. Moving to the center of the room, I use an AoE skill to grab all these mobs and group them up. This next pack is pretty standard, just start dropping damage, they're pretty closely packed up. Now the stairs leading up to this next pack I find extremely annoying, so I use my 100% BSR on Guardian to fly up the stairs and also one-shot this pack. If you decide to play any other class, then good luck, I'm not sure exactly what you guys can do here. These next 2 packs spawn in some pretty convenient spots, so you can just drop damage down. After you take this group out, it is time to run over to the second room. The very first thing I do here is actually stand on that stone tablet and use an AoE skill to pull as many mobs as possible. This next pull can be awkward, so I use a damaging movement skill to try and aggro the mobs on my way. This pack is deceptively large, so make sure you clear out all the mobs in the previous pack so you don't go over the 10 mob aggro limit. Now for this pull, there is some arguments to be made to run all the way up to the door frame and grab the mobs on the wall, but I haven't found a fast way to do that yet on Guardian, so this is what I settled with instead. This is another AoE pull, just make sure to grab the mob in this hallway. This next pull is the final pack for this room, so when you're clearing, try to position yourself closer to the door. To get to the next pack, this is where you should know your class's movement skills. I blow pretty much everything possible on Guardian to get to the next group. Also note that I use an AoE pull skill to try and grab the mobs that are hidden under the ground here. And here you see the very last pack of this rotation. And there you go, this wraps right around to the very first pull of the rotation. While you are doing your rotation, you will occasionally see this text pop up on screen. Warning, a trespasser has been detected, level 1 security activated. Shortly after this prompt, 4 extra packs of mobs will spawn in the room that you are currently in. Upon clearing these packs, you will get a notification that level 2 security has been activated. Somewhere around you will spawn 2 elite enemies for you to kill. After these elites fall, a third prompt will say that maximum security has been activated. From there, a boss named Layton will spawn. He is pretty tanky, but taking him down is well worth it because his loot table is absolutely busted. Alright, we have finally arrived to the part of the video that most people care about, and that is talking about the silver per hour, baby. If it ain't money, then why are you even talking to me? Alright, so as you can see here, I did a total of 6 hours of testing, and these are my results. This very first chart honestly doesn't really matter too much, but the second one is very important. And as you can see here, on average, I was making around 732 million silver per hour. And if we take a look at my thumbnail, you would see that I only put 700 million silver per hour. And that is because if we take a deeper look into the buffs that were running during this time, you would see that there was a 50% drop rate buff that was active on the NA servers during this testing time. So to accommodate for that, I have lowered your average silver per hour so you're not overestimating how much money you can make here. And yes, silver per hour is really important, but honestly, my favorite chart to look at is our average trash per hour. And as you can see here, it was really consistent at just under 27,000 trash dropped per hour. And by this, I mean you really can't guarantee the amount of accessories that drop, right? Or how many artifacts or how many boss spawns, because this is all tied to RNG. But one aspect of grinding that isn't so random is the amount of trash you pull per hour. This is a great indicator to find out how fast you're clearing compared to other people. And now let's take a deeper look into the analytics. And I don't really want to talk about every single item individually because that would just take way too long. So instead, I'm just going to leave this on screen. Feel free to pause the video and use this as a resource to figure out if your RNG is doing good or is pretty ass. Cool, now moving on to loot deposition. And I want to be honest with you guys, I've been speaking English for 22 years now, and I don't know what deposition really means, but what this basically is a breakdown to how much money you make per item. So by that, I mean that, as you can see here, your trash loot actually only makes up around 1/4 of the silver you're going to be pulling per hour here. So yes, pulling trash loot is important, but it's not going to be your main silver maker. Instead, you will find most of your money actually comes from the artifacts, Khafra stones, Elcars, and all the accessory drops that come from the boss spawns and just lucky drops from your item rate. And all of this is important to keep in mind because if we take a look back at our buffs, you will see that my drop rate was actually all the way up to 246.5%. So if you're someone who has extremely high ecology, if there's any events that will affect the drop rate, such as the 50% DR drop rate event, or if your luck is high, if you somehow, I don't even know how you can do it, but if you somehow have the 7k family fame buff, all of these aspects will increase your drop rate buff and in turn increase your silver per hour. Another thing that I recommend when you grind here is to use a blue loot scroll and Agris. Especially with the changes that happened to the patch recently, the Agris efficiency here is absolutely bonkers. I was getting away with spending around 17,000 Agris per hour, and when the maximum you can have is 100k, that is a lot of hours you can grind consecutively without having to burn, let's say, yellow loot scrolls or running out of Agris. If you really wanted to, sure, you can also grind with a yellow loot scroll and Agris, but I did zero testing on this, and in my opinion, I think this might be a little bit overkill. And I should point out some outliers, specifically this 2-hour session right here. As you can see, I actually got one Pry Tungrad earring drop, and this is extremely rare. I don't know what to say. Streamer luck, baby. I don't know. So yeah, this is my overall loot breakdown using the gear that I showed off previously in the video. If you have higher AP than me or play a class that is potentially faster than mine, then you can honestly expect to pull upwards of 30,000 trash per hour. Also keep in mind that I am by no means a professional grinder. This is not what I spend most of my time doing in Black Desert. I just simply wanted to make this video to illustrate a general idea on how I was able to pull around 700 million silver on average per hour at Kratuga. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, smash the like button. God, I hate saying that. And also, you know, maybe potentially subscribe to the channel. I'll be honest, my video upload schedule is pretty rough right now, but as I get better at my editing process, then, you know, maybe I'll be able to post more than one video a week. And honestly, this is just scratching the surface for Kratuga. I only tested for 6 hours, and if for some reason you were able to pull 32,000 trash per hour or make 1 billion silver an hour, then let me know down in the comment section exactly how you did it. But that should be all for now. I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your guys' day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Deuces.
Take me back to the winter days, to see the times of the world and beginner stage. 23, I've been instructed by my lineage. Any means, anyway, make cheddar cheese, that guapole. I see my head telling, I don't see the need to stop the day. Opposition wildin', I'm not soldier boy, no rock away.